I'm staring at my phone screen right now, and I can't stop shaking. Not from excitement, not from happiness, from this raw, hollow feeling that's eating me alive from the inside out. Happy birthday, Clara. Hope you have a great day. That's it. That's all I got. A text message at 11:47 p.m. Like they suddenly remembered, oh, wait, wasn't there something today? Meanwhile, 3 hours ago, I watched through my bedroom window as they rolled a brand new red Mustang convertible into our driveway. For Madison, my stepsister, because she finally got her license and deserves something special for being such a good student. She's 17, I just turned 18. I've had my license for 2 years. I've been getting straight A's since middle school. But here I am, sitting on my bed at midnight, eating leftover pizza that I bought myself with money from my part-time job at the bookstore, wondering when exactly I became invisible in my own house. You want to know what's really messed up? I actually got excited when I saw Dad's car pull into the driveway earlier. For like 30 seconds, I thought maybe, just maybe, they had gotten me something too. Maybe the Mustang was for both of us to share. Maybe there was a smaller gift waiting inside. I ran downstairs like an idiot. Oh my God, Madison, do you love it? We've been planning this for months. Mum was practically bouncing up and down, recording everything on her phone. Madison was crying. Happy tears. The kind I used to have when I was little and still believed I mattered. Thank you so much. This is literally the best day of my life. She hugged Dad first, then Mum, and they all stood there in this perfect little triangle of pure joy. I stood in the doorway, watching this Hallmark movie moment, wearing my stupid birthday girl shirt that I put on this morning when I still had hope. Nobody even noticed I was there. Not until I cleared my throat and said, "Hey guys, the car looks really nice." That's when they remembered. You could literally see it dawn on their faces, like, oh shit, there's another person in this house, and isn't today something? Oh, Clara, happy birthday, sweetie. Mum rushed over and gave me this quick, distracted hug. The kind you give someone when you're already thinking about something else. Dad patted my shoulder. Hope you had a good day, kiddo. Had a good day. Past tense. Like it was already over. We'll do something special for you this weekend, okay? Maybe dinner, somewhere nice, Mum added, but she was already turning back to Madison and the car. This weekend, like my actual birthday was just some inconvenient Tuesday they had to pencil me in around. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask them if they even remembered that I exist most days. I wanted to point out that I've been living in this house for 3 years since they got married, and I'm still treated like a temporary guest who's overstayed their welcome. Instead, I smiled and said, "Sounds great. I'm just going to go finish some homework." Because that's what I do. I smile and nod and disappear back into my room where I don't have to pretend everything is fine. Do you know what it's like to feel completely alone when you're surrounded by family? It's like being a ghost in your own life, like you're there but not really there. People look right through you, talk around you, make plans that don't include you. I have this box under my bed filled with birthday cards from when I was younger, before Dad remarried, before Madison moved in with her perfect grades and her perfect smile and her way of making everyone fall in love with her without even trying. The cards are from him, from Dad, real cards with actual messages written in his handwriting. To my brilliant daughter on her 13th birthday, you make me proud every single day. Clara, watching you grow into such an amazing person is the greatest gift I could ask for. Happy 14th. My beautiful girl, I can't believe you're 15 already. Here's to another year of adventures together. I used to read those cards whenever I felt sad and remember that I mattered to someone. Now they just make me cry. Because somewhere between year 15 and year 18, I stopped being his beautiful girl and started being kiddo. I stopped being brilliant and amazing and started being there, just there. Madison moved in when I was 15 and suddenly everything changed. Not all at once. It was gradual, like slowly turning down the volume on my life until I could barely hear myself anymore. Family dinners became about her day at school, her friends, her achievements. Weekend plans revolved around her soccer games, her dance recitals, her social events. Photo albums filled up with pictures of her and Mum and Dad doing things together. Things I wasn't invited to or somehow missed the memo about. And the worst part? She's not even mean to me. I can't even hate her properly because she's actually nice. She includes me sometimes, asks me about my day, compliments my clothes. But nice doesn't fix the fact that she gets the attention I used to have. Nice doesn't explain why Dad lights up when she walks into the room, but barely looks at me anymore. Nice doesn't make up for the fact that they spent months planning her perfect surprise while they couldn't even remember to pick up a card for me. I keep thinking about this moment from last week. Madison was struggling with her chemistry homework and Dad spent 2 hours helping her at the kitchen table, patiently explaining everything, making little jokes to help her remember the formulas. I watched from the living room, pretending to watch TV, but really just studying them. The way he looked at her with pride and affection, the way she laughed at his dumb science puns, the way they worked together like a real father and daughter. I wanted to interrupt to remind him that I'm pre-med, that I've been getting A's in chemistry for 3 years, that I used to be the one he helped with homework. But I didn't, because deep down I was afraid he'd look at me like I was bothering them, like I was interrupting something important. So I went to my room and cried instead. And now here I am, 18 years old, legally an adult, sitting alone in my room on my birthday, trying to figure out when I became so easy to forget. My phone buzzes. A text from my best friend Jake. Hey, birthday girl, how was the big day? Did your parents surprise you with something amazing? I stare at the message for a long time before typing back. Yeah, something like that. Because how do you explain to someone that your birthday surprise was watching your family celebrate someone else? How do you put into words the feeling of being overlooked by the people who are supposed to love you most? Jake would understand though. He always does. He's the only person who really sees me anymore. The only one who notices when I'm sad or celebrates when I'm happy or remembers the little things that matter to me. Maybe that's enough. Maybe one person who really sees you is worth more than a whole family who looks right through you. But it still hurts. It hurts so much that I can't breathe sometimes. Tomorrow I'll go downstairs and they'll probably ask if I want to go car shopping with Madison, to pick out accessories for the Mustang, and I'll say yes, because that's what I do. I smile and go along and pretend it doesn't kill me a little bit more each time. But tonight, I'm going to let myself feel this. I'm going to sit here in my room with my leftover pizza and my box of old birthday cards and admit that this sucks. That being invisible in your own family sucks. That watching everyone you love someone else more sucks. That turning 18 and feeling more alone than ever sucks. Tomorrow I'll put my mask back on, but tonight I'm just going to be honest about how much this hurts. Because pretending it doesn't is killing me. 3 days after my birthday and I'm still carrying this weight in my chest. You know what happened this morning? I walked into the kitchen and Madison was showing Mum pictures on her phone. Pictures of her and her friends posing with the Mustang at school. Look how cute this one is. Sarah said I have the coolest parents ever. The coolest parents ever. I stood there pouring cereal into my bowl, listening to them laugh and gush over every single photo, and something inside me just cracked, because I realised that's what I want. I want to be able to call them the coolest parents ever. I want to show off pictures and brag about how much they love me. Instead, I have nothing to show. Clara, you're being awfully quiet this morning, Mum said, finally noticing I was in the room. Just tired, I mumbled, which has become my default response to everything lately. You should go to bed earlier. All that studying isn't good for you. All that studying. Like working hard for my future is some kind of character flaw. Madison gets praised for getting B's. I get told I study too much for getting A's. The math doesn't add up and I'm so tired of pretending it does. I escaped to my room before I said something I'd regret. Something that would make me the dramatic, ungrateful stepdaughter who ruins everyone's good mood. But here's the thing that's eating me alive. I keep wondering if I'm being crazy, if I'm seeing problems that aren't there, if I'm just being a jealous, bitter person who can't handle sharing attention. So I decided to test it. I started paying attention, really paying attention to everything. Like how Dad asks Madison about her day every single evening, but hasn't asked me about mine in weeks. How Mom makes Madison's favourite dinner at least twice a week, but I can't remember the last time she made mine. How they both went to Madison's parent-teacher conference last month, but when I had mine, Dad said he had to work late, and Mum said she forgot to put it on her calendar. How there are 12 pictures of Madison on the living room shelves and 2 of me, and those 2 are from before they got married. How they know all of Madison's friends' names but still call Jake that boy you hang out with. How they remembered to DVR Madison's favourite show but forgot I was in the school play last semester. I made a list. An actual list of all the little things I noticed in just 3 days. 27 things. 27 moments where I was overlooked, forgotten, or dismissed. And seeing it written down like that, it broke something in me. Because I realised I'm not being dramatic. I'm not being oversensitive. I'm not imagining this. I really am invisible. The worst part happened yesterday afternoon. I was in the living room doing homework when Dad came home early from work. He walked right past me, didn't even say hello, and went straight to the kitchen where Mum and Madison were baking cookies. "There are my girls," I heard him say. "My girls." Not "there are my girls," including me, just his girls, the 2 of them. I sat there, staring at the same page of my textbook for 20 minutes, listening to them laugh and talk and exist together without me, and I felt like I was disappearing, like I was fading away one ignored moment at a time. That's when I texted Jake, "Can you come over? I need to get out of here." He showed up 15 minutes later with coffee and this concerned look that made me want to cry. "You look like hell," he said, which is exactly what I needed to hear. Not some polite lie about how I looked fine. "I feel like hell." We drove to our spot, this little park where we go when the world gets too heavy, where I can actually breathe. "Talk to me," Jake said, and something about the way he said it, like he really wanted to hear whatever I had to say, made everything pour out. I told him about the birthday, about the list, about feeling like a ghost in my own house. "Clara," he said when I finished, and his voice was so gentle it made my chest ache. "This isn't normal. You know that, right? But what if I'm wrong? What if I'm just..." "You're not wrong." He turned to face me completely. "I've been watching this happen for 2 years, and it's been killing me to see you blame yourself for their blindness. Their blindness. They can't see how incredible you are, how funny and smart and kind you are, how you light up when you talk about books, or how you remember everyone's favourite coffee order, or how you always know exactly what to say when someone's having a bad day." I stared at him. "You notice all that?" "Clara, I notice everything about you. Because you matter. You matter so much, it's insane that they can't see it." And that's when I started crying. Not the quiet, hidden tears I usually cry in my room. Big, ugly, cathartic sobs that felt like they were coming from somewhere deep inside me. Jake didn't try to stop me or tell me it would be okay. He just let me fall apart, which is exactly what I needed. "I'm so tired," I whispered when I could finally speak again. "Tired of what?" "Tired of being invisible. Tired of pretending it doesn't hurt. Tired of making excuses for them. Tired of feeling like I have to earn love from people who are supposed to love me automatically." "Then stop." I looked at him. "Stop what?" "Stop pretending. Stop making excuses. Stop trying to earn something that should be freely given." "But they're my family." "Family isn't just about blood or marriage certificates, Clara. Family is about showing up, about seeing each other, about making each other feel valued and loved." He reached over and took my hand. "You have family. You have me. You have Mrs. Peterson from the bookstore, who always asks about your college plans. You have Sarah from chemistry class, who thinks you're brilliant. You have people who see you, but I want them to see me too." "I know, and maybe someday they will, but you can't keep shrinking yourself hoping they'll finally notice. You can't keep disappearing just because they're not paying attention." We sat in silence for a while, watching the sunset paint the sky pink and orange. "What if I stop trying so hard?" I asked. What do you mean? What if I stopped being the perfect, invisible daughter who never causes problems? What if I just existed loudly for once? Jake smiled. I think that sounds like the Clara I fell in. He stopped, his face turning red. Fell in what? Nothing. I think you should take up as much space as you want. You deserve to be seen. But I caught what he almost said, and suddenly this whole horrible situation felt a little less hopeless. Because even if my family can't see me, Jake can. Jake notices everything about me. Jake thinks I deserve to take up space. Maybe that's where I start, not with trying to make them see me, but with remembering that I'm worth seeing. I want to do something, I said suddenly. What? I don't know yet, but something that makes me feel real again. Something that reminds me I exist. I'll help you figure it out. And for the first time in days, I smiled, a real smile, because I realised something sitting there in that park with Jake holding my hand and the sun setting behind us. I don't have to disappear just because they're not looking. I can be visible all on my own. The question is, what does that look like? What does it look like to exist loudly when you've been invisible for so long? I guess I'm about to find out. I figured out what existing loudly looks like. It started small, like ridiculously small. Instead of eating breakfast in my room like I'd been doing for months, I sat at the kitchen table, right in the middle of their morning routine. Oh, Mum said, clearly surprised to see me there. Good morning, honey. Morning, I replied, but here's the thing. I didn't disappear into my phone like usual. I just sat there, eating my cereal, being present. It was weird how uncomfortable it made them. Like they'd forgotten how to include me in their little family bubble. Madison tried to fill the silence. So, Clara, any fun plans for today? Actually, yes, I said, and I could see Mum and Dad look up from their coffee. I'm starting a poetry club at school. This was news to me too. I literally decided it in that moment. A poetry club? Dad raised his eyebrows. Since when are you into poetry? Since always, I wanted to say. Since I've been writing poems about feeling invisible in my own house. Since I've been pouring my heart out in verses that no one ever sees. Since forever, I said instead. I just never mentioned it. That's so cool! Madison actually seemed excited. Can I come to one of your meetings sometime? And there it was. The perfect opportunity to be petty, to exclude her the way I'd been excluded. But you know what? I didn't take it. Sure, I said, if you're really interested. Because being seen doesn't mean making others invisible. After breakfast, I actually did go to the school counsellor and proposed a poetry club. Mrs. Henderson loved the idea, and by lunch, I had approval and a meeting room. Jake found me putting up flyers. Poetry club? He read over my shoulder. When did you become a poet? When did you almost tell me you fell in love with me? I shot back. His face went bright red. I was hoping you missed that. I miss a lot of things, Jake, but not that. We stood there in the hallway, surrounded by the chaos of students changing classes, having this moment that felt separate from everything else. Clara, it's okay, I said quickly. You don't have to explain. I needed you to know that I heard you. And I think I've been so focused on being invisible that I missed some pretty important things that were right in front of me. The first poetry club meeting was that Friday. I expected maybe 3 people to show up. 12 came. 12 people who wanted to share their words, their feelings, their truths. Sarah from chemistry was there. This quiet guy named Marcus from my English class. Even some seniors I'd never talked to before. So, I said, standing in front of them, my hand shaking slightly, I guess we're doing this. What made you start this club? Sarah asked. I could have given some generic answer about loving literature or wanting to express creativity. Instead, I told the truth, because I've been invisible for so long that I forgot I had a voice, and I figured maybe some of you feel the same way. The nods around the room told me I was right. Should we start by sharing something we've written? Marcus suggested. My heart pounded. I had notebooks full of poems, but they were all so personal, so raw. I'll go first, I said before I could lose my nerve. I pulled out a piece of paper, a poem I'd written 3 nights ago, sitting in my room after another family dinner where I might as well have been a piece of furniture. This is called table for 4. They set the table for 4 every night. 4 plates, 4 cups, 4 chances to matter. But somehow there's only enough conversation for 3. Only enough laughter for 3. Only enough attention for 3. I sit in the 4th chair, the spare chair, the afterthought chair, cutting my food into smaller and smaller pieces, hoping that maybe if I take up less space, they'll finally see me. But you can't shrink yourself into visibility. You can't disappear your way into being found. So tonight, I'm putting down my fork and speaking up, because this table was meant for 4, and I deserve my seat. The silence that followed made me want to run. Then Sarah started clapping, then Marcus, then everyone. "Holy shit, Clara," one of the seniors said. "That was incredible." "Language, Tyler," I said automatically, then laughed. "Sorry, I sound like a teacher." "No, you sound like someone who found her voice," Sarah said. After the meeting, Jake walked me to my car. "I'm proud of you," he said. "For what?" "For taking up space, for letting people see you. It's terrifying. The best things usually are." We stopped next to my car and I turned to face him. "Jake, about what you almost said, Clara, you don't have to. I think I've been in love with you for months," I blurted out. "Maybe longer. But I was so caught up in trying to get my family to notice me that I didn't notice how much you already did." His smile was brighter than the parking lot lights. "So, what now?" he asked. "Now I stop being invisible, starting with this." I kissed him, right there in the school parking lot, under the fluorescent lights, with my heart pounding and my hands shaking. And for the first time in years, I felt completely, utterly visible. When I got home that night, the house was buzzing with excitement. "Clara," Mum called as soon as I walked in. "Perfect timing. Come look at these college brochures with Madison." I found them spread out across the dining room table, glossy pamphlets promising bright futures. "Madison's been accepted to 3 schools already," Dad said proudly. "We're trying to help her decide." "That's great," I said, and I meant it. "What about you?" Madison asked. "Have you heard back from anywhere yet?" I stared at her, at all of them. "I've been accepted to 7 schools," I said quietly. The room went silent. "7?" Mum repeated. "Including 2 with full scholarships." "Clara, why didn't you tell us?" Dad asked, and for the first time in months, he looked at me. Really looked at me. "I did tell you. I told you when I got the first acceptance letter. And the second. And the third." They looked confused, like they were trying to remember conversations that had apparently evaporated from their minds. "I put the letters on the fridge," I continued. "They're still there, actually, under Madison's soccer schedule and her report card." Mum went to check. Sure enough, there they were. 7 acceptance letters, forgotten under other papers, covered by more important things. "Honey," Mum started. "It's okay," I said, and surprisingly, I meant it. "I'm not angry anymore. I'm just tired of being invisible." "You're not invisible," Dad said weakly. "Dad, you walked past me in the living room yesterday and called Mum and Madison your girls. I was sitting 10 feet away from you." The silence that followed was deafening. "I don't want to fight," I said. "I don't want drama. I just want you to see me. All of me. The girl who gets straight A's and writes poetry and started a club at school. The girl who works part-time and saves her money and dreams about studying medicine. The girl who's been here all along, waiting for you to notice." Madison's eyes were filled with tears. "Clara, I am so sorry. I never realised." "It's not your fault," I told her, and I meant that too. "You didn't ask to be the favourite. You just are." "That's not true," Mum said quickly. "Mum, you spent months planning Madison's car surprise. You forgot my birthday until 11:47 p.m. The truth hung in the air between us, heavy and undeniable. "We can fix this," Dad said. "I hope so. But I'm not going to wait around hoping anymore. I'm done being invisible. I'm done shrinking myself to fit into the spaces you leave for me." I headed toward the stairs. "Clara, wait," Mum called. I turned back. "I'm proud of you. for the acceptances, for the poetry club, for standing up for yourself. It wasn't enough. Not yet. But it was a start. And for the first time, I believed that maybe things could change. Maybe I could be seen after all. 3 weeks later, I'm standing in front of my bathroom mirror, getting ready for the biggest night of my life. Tonight is the Poetry Club's first public showcase, the one where we perform in front of the whole school, the one where I'm going to read a poem that will change everything. My hands are shaking as I apply mascara, but it's not fear anymore, it's anticipation. Jake appears in the doorway. You ready for this? As ready as someone can be for voluntarily terrifying themselves, I say, turning to face him. He's wearing the blue shirt I love, the one that makes his eyes look like storm clouds. We've been officially together for 3 weeks now, and I'm still getting used to the way he looks at me. Like I'm something precious. Like I matter. You know what's funny? I say as we walk downstairs together. What? 6 months ago, I would have done anything to avoid being the centre of attention. Now I'm about to get on stage in front of 300 people. People change, he says simply. Or maybe they just remember who they were before they forgot. We reach the bottom of the stairs, and I freeze. The whole family is there. Mum, Dad, and Madison, all dressed up and waiting by the door. What's happening? I ask. We're coming to your showcase, Dad says, and his voice sounds different, softer, more careful. You are? If that's okay with you, Mum adds quickly. We know we haven't been the best at showing up for you, but we want to try. I stare at them. 3 weeks ago, they didn't even know I wrote poetry. Now they're offering to come watch me perform. Okay, I say finally, but I need you to know something first. They wait. The poem I'm reading tonight, it's about us, about this family, about how I felt invisible. It's not going to be comfortable for you to hear. Dad's face goes pale. Clara, maybe we should talk about this? No, I say firmly. I'm not changing my poem. I'm not protecting your feelings anymore. I'm telling my truth, and if you can't handle that, then don't come. The silence stretches between us. Then Madison speaks up. I want to hear it. I want to hear your truth, even if it's hard to listen to. Especially if it's hard to listen to. Mum nods. We'll be there, and we'll listen, really listen. Promise? Promise. The school auditorium is packed. I peek out from backstage and see faces everywhere. Students, teachers, parents. My stomach does a flip. Clara Chen, you're up next, Mrs. Henderson whispers. Sarah gives me a hug. You've got this. Marcus nods. Speak your truth. Jake squeezes my hand. I'll be right there in the front row, okay? If you get scared, just look at me. I walk onto the stage, and the lights are so bright I can barely see the audience. The microphone feels foreign in my hands. Hi, I say, and my voice echoes through the speakers. I'm Clara, and this poem is called The Girl Who Learned to Disappear. I find Jake in the front row. He's smiling at me like I'm already amazing, before I've even started. Then I see them, my family, sitting together in the third row. Mum's hands are clasped tightly in her lap. Dad is leaning forward, actually paying attention. Madison looks nervous but supportive. I take a deep breath and begin. I was 15 when I learned to disappear. Not with magic, not with mirrors, but with silence, with shrinking, with making myself so small that I could slip through the cracks of my own family's attention. I perfected the art of invisible, of being there but not there, of existing in the spaces between their conversations, their laughter, their love. I learned to celebrate alone, to cry in silence, to achieve without applause, to need without asking. I became a ghost in my own house, haunting the hallways of my childhood, watching through walls as they lived their lives around me, through me, without me. But ghosts aren't born, they're made. Made by being overlooked, one birthday at a time. Made by being forgotten, one achievement at a time. Made by being dismissed, one conversation at a time. I wasn't always invisible. I used to take up space. I used to laugh loud and dream big, and believe that I mattered simply because I existed. But somewhere along the way, I started believing that love was something I had to earn. that attention was something I had to deserve, that my place at the table was something I had to prove. So I tried to be perfect. The perfect daughter, the perfect student, the perfect ghost. But perfection is just another word for invisible, another way to disappear. I have a box under my bed full of birthday cards from when I was someone's beautiful girl, brilliant daughter, amazing person. Those cards used to be my proof of love. Now they're just evidence of everything I lost. But today I'm standing here under these bright lights in front of all of you, and I'm not disappearing anymore. Today I'm remembering that I don't have to earn my place in my own life, that I don't have to shrink to make room for others, that I don't have to be perfect to be seen. I'm remembering that my voice deserves to be heard, that my story deserves to be told, that I deserve to take up space in my own family, in my own life, in my own heart. So, this is me, refusing to disappear. This is me, existing loudly. This is me, remembering that I matter. And if you're listening to this and you recognize yourself in the spaces between my words, if you've ever felt like a ghost in your own life, let this be your reminder. You don't have to disappear to make others comfortable. You don't have to shrink to fit into their vision of who you should be. You can be seen. You deserve to be seen. You were always meant to take up space. The girl who learned to disappear is learning to reappear, and she's never going back to being invisible again. The silence that follows is deafening. Then someone starts clapping. Then another person. Then another. Soon the entire auditorium is on its feet applauding, and I can see tears on faces throughout the crowd. But I only care about 4 faces. Jake is crying and clapping and grinning all at once. And my family. Dad has tears streaming down his face. Mum is covering her mouth with her hand, her eyes wide with what looks like recognition and regret. Madison is openly sobbing. I walk off the stage on shaking legs, and Jake is there immediately, pulling me into his arms. I am so fucking proud of you, he whispers in my ear. Language? I say through my tears, but I'm laughing too. The rest of the showcase passes in a blur. Other students read their poems, but I barely hear them. I'm too busy processing what just happened. I told my truth, in front of everyone, and they listened. After the show, people keep coming up to me. Teachers, students, parents, I don't even know. Thank you for that, says a woman whose daughter is in my chemistry class. I think I needed to hear it too. That was brave, says Mr. Martinez, my AP English teacher. That was real poetry. But the conversation I'm most nervous about is the one waiting for me by the auditorium doors. My family is standing there, and they all look like they've been crying. Clara, Mum says as soon as she sees me. Her voice breaks on my name. Hi, I say quietly. Can we talk, all of us? I look at Jake. He squeezes my hand. I'll wait for you, he says. We find an empty classroom and sit in a circle, just the 4 of us. For a long moment, nobody speaks. Then Dad clears his throat. I had no idea, he says. I had no idea we were making you feel that way. We failed you, Mum says simply. As parents, as a family, we failed you completely. It wasn't intentional, I say, because even after everything, I can't stand to see them hurt. That almost makes it worse, Madison says. That we hurt you without even realizing it. That you were suffering right in front of us and we were too blind to see it. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty, I say. I'm telling you because I need you to see me, really see me, not just now, but from now on. How do we do that? Dad asks. How do we fix this? You start by including me, really including me, not as an afterthought, but as a real member of this family. Done, Mum says immediately. And you remember that I have feelings and achievements and dreams that matter just as much as Madison's. Of course they do, Dad says. And you stop making me feel like I have to compete for your attention. Like there's only enough love for one daughter. Madison reaches over and takes my hand. There's enough love for both of us. There's enough attention for both of us. There's enough space for both of us. I know that now, I say. But I need you all to know it too. We talk for another hour. Really talk about the birthday, about the acceptance letters, about all the ways I felt invisible and all the ways they want to change. It's not perfect. It doesn't erase 3 years of feeling forgotten, but it's a start. When we finally leave the classroom, Jake is waiting exactly where he said he'd be. "How did it go?" he asks. "Better than I expected," I say. "We have a lot of work to do, but I think we're going to be okay." "And us?" he asks, wrapping his arms around me. "How are we going to be?" I look up at him. This boy who saw me when I was invisible, who loved me when I couldn't love myself, who helped me remember that I deserve to take up space. "We're going to be incredible," I say. And as we walk out of the school together, under the parking lot lights that made everything seem possible 3 weeks ago, I realise something. I'm not the girl who learned to disappear anymore. I'm the girl who learned to reappear. I'm the girl who found her voice. I'm the girl who refused to stay invisible. And I'm never going back to being a ghost in my own life. Because I matter. I've always mattered. I just forgot for a while. But I remember now, and that changes everything.